When I'm coming in looking at a risk assessment and looking at like where somebody is at cyber, one of the very first questions I have is what data types do you have? So there's a lot of different data types. And the thing is, a lot of your regulations and as well as your threats are going to be based on it. So payment card industry, PCI, that's all your credit card information. If you collect credit cards and have that, you're probably familiar with those forms that you have to do to make sure that you're in compliance. And you make sure you have a vendor that is in compliance. There's a whole procedure for to be able to accept credit cards. You have to be in compliance with that. HIPAA is for medical information. So if you're having like a healthcare program, if you're doing like therapy sessions or whatever, you have to protect that information to the HIPAA standards. SPI and PII are really going after the privacy. Now there's big rules, especially if you're crossing into other countries and stuff too. A lot of different states are starting to enact privacy rules, and that's all based on this kind of information. So SPI is sensitive personal information, and PII is personally identifiable information. So there's just, and this is just a small fraction of the different data types. There's a lot of different data types that are out there. And when I was working on my doctorate, that was one of the first things that became apparent was that small businesses really did not understand the how their what their data types were, nor what regulations were affected by it. Now, everything I think about when I come into a business is I'm thinking about like I'm worried about how much to protect because you don't want to go overboard either. So if you have public information, you're not going to protect it at the same level as you'd have to do with all the PCI type data, right? You're not going to put your credit card information wide out there so for anybody to come pick it up because we know that we have identity thieves, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing things appropriately for the data type. We don't want to do too much protection, but we want to do just enough based on what things are. And we also really have to worry about regulations right now. They're very confusing. Like I've kind of mentioned, trying to deal with privacy laws. There's different privacy laws in different states, different countries. So there's a lot involved. But if you aren't aware that you have these data types, you're not going to be aware that you need to protect based on that. So if I give anybody like where to start off with, and we'll do some more of these and just kind of give you some more background and basic things of cyber, but this is where you start is just really